Each week, you have a chance to win a t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees during Review-A-Raw. All you have to do is pay attention for the secret question and then submit your answer at Law Radio on Twitter, and you'll be entered into a draw to win your t-shirt, including our own brand of shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com/law.
Review-A-Raw from Monday night. Download a Tuesday morning from the Fight Network site. It's Review-A-Raw from Monday night on USA Now on the John and Wai Take the Mic.
It is John Pollock, joined as always by Wai Ting, and welcome to Review-A-Raw. How are you doing, Wai?
I'm doing okay.
You're doing well.
Yeah.
Well, you know what would make you feel great?
What's that?
Before we get into our review of Raw,
Yeah, what's that?
we're going to give away something.
Oh.
Courtesy of our pal, Alan Avasar. We have the Old School Wrestling Activity Book, which if you are watching the video version, you can see right now. And if you're listening to the podcast, well, then you're going to have to go find our video to see this cover. And you know why people have to see this cover? Because the first 5 people that tweet us, Outlaw Radio, about which wrestling figure is on the cover of the Old School Wrestling Activity Book, first 5 people, Outlaw Radio, to identify that person, will be getting a free copy.
Who is this guy? Who is it?
Tell us Outlaw Radio. That is courtesy. We got a bunch of these sent to us.
What are these?
The Old School Wrestling Activity Book. This is essentially like I don't want to say a kid's activity book, but it's just fun wrestling-themed crosswords, word searches, connect the dots,
Awesome.
all these different things that you've played for years, probably pre-10 years old. Now you can play wrestling-themed versions of them. Look at that.
Old school wrestling themed.
Yes, a connect the dots of Jerry the King Lawler's crown. Which object, connect the object to the wrestler. You have a 2x4, a whistle. Frankie's in there.
Very cool.
So you can go check that out. The Old School Wrestling Activity Book, which Alan Avasar sent us. And if you want to check this out, you can go to Alan, ALON, designs.com/activity-book.
And as always, we love free shit. So send us free shit to give away and we'll probably mention it.
Well, are you ready to talk about a free episode of Raw?
Yes, I am.
From Chicago, Illinois on Monday night. What a Raw this was, Wai.
Yeah?
This was there was a lot of news coming out of this show. This was a pretty packed edition of Raw. There was like every single segment pretty well had something to do with WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The exception of maybe 1 or 2 throwaway segments. So we have a lot to discuss here. First off, the show kicked off with Chris Jericho coming out with his beard.
Yeah. His 3-week beard.
His 3-week-old beard.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how you know he's been really contemplating his actions.
Yeah,
His
this is
life.
definitely not on the higher scale of some of Jericho's facial hair over the years.
Yeah, he's never
He would really get it going at times.
Right. I've never seen him with a big, thick, full beard.
This is like a normal, everyday person's beard, not
Yeah.
the crazy kind he used to have that you knew that guy had to be some weirdo if you didn't know he was a wrestler. So he comes out, and he calls Chicago the birthplace of Y2J.
the birthplace of his gimmick.
Yes.
I guess. Or that nickname, at least.
18 years ago. Yes. He says that he screwed Kevin Owens out of the Universal title because Owens betrayed him, and it hurt. And he wants Owens to come out and explain his actions. Why did Owens do what he did to him at the Festival of Friendship? And Owens comes out and is pretty soundly booed here from the Chicago audience. And Jericho demands an explanation. Owens says that he never stabbed his best friend in the back because Jericho was never his best friend. And this crowd
ouch.
really felt this one.
I know.
They felt that one like a dagger. He says Sami Zayn once was his best friend, but he stabbed him in the back and would do it over and over again. Jericho was simply a tool because Hunter told him that everyone would be after him once he became champion, and he needed someone that could watch his back, that had been a champion in the past, had been around for a long time, but also someone that was gullible. And Jericho met all of these criteria. And says once Jericho put him into the match with Bill Goldberg, he turned into a burden from a tool. And says that he would have beaten Goldberg if it weren't for Jericho because he was going to outsmart him. He let Jericho walk away from the Festival of Friendship and says that was a mistake, letting you walk away, and that Jericho's biggest mistake ever was costing him the title. Now, before we go into Jericho's response, I thought Owens was great here.
I did too.
Like, this was a very solid segment. There was no comedy. There was no even, like, going for a cheap joke to break any of it up. It was all serious. That's what I liked a lot about this. And Jericho says 8 to 10 years ago, he would have done the same thing that Owens did to him, but admits he got complacent. And says that he has all of his friends of Jericho as the entire crowd starts chanting Y2J. And says that last night was the start of a road that will end with Owens and Jericho at WrestleMania. And Owens says he was promised a title rematch, but right now he wants to focus on taking Chris Jericho's title away from him. That desired U.S. title, which I swear away. Until he brought this up, and he was wearing the title, I had forgotten this guy was the champion. But it is now the focus of Kevin Owens' desires, that United States Championship. So Jericho agrees, and then Jericho says that Mania is a couple of months away before he quickly corrects himself. It is in 4 weeks. And he challenges Owens to fight him right then and there. Owens charges the ring. They start fighting. And then Samoa Joe runs in, helping Owens as they get the advantage. Then Sami Zayn runs down with a chair. They attack Zayn. Jericho makes the comeback with a chair and fends off Joe and Owens. So pretty solid segment to start things off. And we have one of many WrestleMania matches, which were basically finalized on Monday's Raw and set up with 4 weeks to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think a direction that we all knew was where they were heading, and they're just delivering. Satisfactory. They
also left it open that Owens has this eventual rematch for the title, which could set up a program coming out of WrestleMania.
Yep.
That could be our, I don't know, Lesnar and Owens. I mean, that's a possible direction. We could see. So then we come back from a commercial break. And who is having an impromptu match but Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? I think tonight was the official night that we can stop treating this like a special match. It's just two guys.
I don't know if we've ever treated it like a special match until...
They did. And they had a blow-off where they said that this was the final meeting last summer.
Yeah.
And this is just a trivial match.
No, they've had like 5 matches since then.
It's definitely not of any consequence here. So they also announced that later tonight, Jericho will take on Joe. Owens hit a cannonball, and then Zayn blocked a pop-up powerbomb when he got pressed in the air, and then Zayn leapt over referee Derek Moore with a Tope Con Hero, as Zayn then returned to the ring, and he gets hit with a pop-up powerbomb. Owens just continues beating on him, hits a Fisherman Buster neck breaker, and then a second pop-up powerbomb, and pins Zayn in 4 minutes.
Quick win.
Yes, and probably the right finish, given...
Yeah.
Where one is going at WrestleMania, and where is Sami Zayn going to be at WrestleMania?
I assume some type of battle royal, or probably Andre Battle Royal. He doesn't really seem like he has a program outside of Joe right now, but they won't do that again at Mania.
No, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Our theme song for WrestleMania, Way, crank this one up. Green Light by Pitbull, featuring the WrestleMania staple himself, Flo Rida.
Oh, wow.
How could they have a WrestleMania theme song without Flo Rida?
They love both those guys.
And Lunch Money Lewis.
Okay, that one's new.
Have you heard this song?
Just today.
Yeah. Oh, this is an awful song. And we got to hear this for a month.
Are they ever good? Have they ever been good at Mania?
Limp Bizkit.
Was that really good?
It was good the way they used it.
Oh, come on.
Let's go with that.
All right. Maybe this will be great. Maybe they'll cut some.
Maybe we'll get a great music video out of Green Light. Yes. Go look up the lyrics to that. Just lends itself so well to violence.
I won't be doing that.
Austin Aries then throws to his video package, and we come back with Neville, the star of Fastlane, Neville, and Rich Swann for the Cruiserweight title. And this is Swann's automatic rematch that he never got after losing the title at the Royal Rumble.
Oh, that's why.
So there was some continuity here after the injury he had. Did you know, in a trivia note way, this is the second time the Cruiserweight title has ever been defended on Raw? The first, Brian Kendrick and T.J. Perkins on Halloween.
Okay.
What a monumental occasion this was. They started with CM Punk chants, but then when the bell rung, the crowd just kind of stopped. And the best part was this dude in the front row who stood up when these chants started and just turned to the crowd and gave them all a thumbs down. And then he sat down and just gave this look to his friend, like, these assholes that we live with in this city. How dare they?
It was almost like they're saying, we actually like these guys.
Yeah.
We want to give them a chance.
Yeah.
Save the chance for later.
Yes, guys. Let's all save it for Stephanie. We'll get her tonight. Yeah. So the Punk chants died. Swan drove Neville into the barricade. They went through a break. Then the crowd was chanting for Austin Aries, which he did acknowledge on commentary. Swan hit a swanton dive to the floor and then followed with a Michinoku driver for a 2 count in the ring. Neville came back, hit his superplex, but Swan, smartly, rolled to the floor to avoid being pinned. And then they went through a second commercial break. This was historic in and of itself because both commercial breaks, Neville was the aggressor, both before and after the break.
Oh, okay.
That's how you create stars in 2017. Mm-hmm. Swan hit a suplex and super kick for a near fall. Crowd was really into this. He landed a head kick, and then Swan went to the top, missed with the Phoenix Splash. Neville got a 2 count off that, and then immediately applied the Rings of Saturn and got the submission win. Very good match. Back-to-back solid nights for Neville, and I would say the Cruiserweight division.
Yeah, I thought both guys looked really good, and it was good momentum building for Neville.
Yeah, I like this match a lot. This was very good. Then Aries came in, and he interviewed Neville. The fans are all chanting for Aries before Neville can even speak. And he says to look at him now as he addresses all of his doubters. And the crowd is chanting, what? He says that no one on 205 Live can hold a candle to the king of the cruiserweights. And Aries then asks him to repeat that and says that the WWE Universe may disagree with him as they're all chanting for Aries. Neville calls Aries delusional, tells him to go back to the announcer's desk to make some jokes, and threatens to re-break his orbital socket as Aries takes his glasses off, revealing a very much healed orbital socket. Says he's just doing his job. Neville asks what he's going to do about it, commentator, and says that Aries says he has one more question, but it's more of a statement. As he nails Neville, lands a forearm, and Neville retreats. This got over very strong with this crowd. I thought maybe they would have done this last night in his hometown, but this was a crowd they were perfectly accepting of Aries in this babyface role and I guess getting him off commentary now.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I mean, I thought Aries was great at milking that reaction and allowing the crowd to really want to see him attack Neville. And, I mean, they've been pushing Aries, or Aries has been pushing himself as a heel this whole time. But yet, maybe that's their way of pushing baby faces because, despite everything he's said on commentary, everything he's done to these guys, fans have been cheering for him regardless. So I think right now you actually have 2 very capable and already over heels and baby faces in the main title picture in the Cruiserweight division, which looks good. But it also might mean the end of Gallagher's push for now.
Yeah, I mean, this could very well end up being a singles program at WrestleMania instead of getting all the cruiserweights involved, which I'm not against.
Me neither.
I think you'll get a better build with just a singles program rather than get everyone into the match. That could be a separate match on the pre-show with the cruiserweights all having some kind of role, but having your defined title champion and challenger. Enzo and Cass are walking backstage, and they run into Sheamus and Cesaro, and they've got a tag title rematch tonight. Sheamus says that they choked last night. Enzo says he senses some sass in Cesaro, and then called Cesaro a Lahu Zahur, channeling Jim Carrey.
Oh.
From 1994, maybe?
How did you spell that?
LA/HOO/SA/HER.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. Cesaro called him very annoying, which is the gimmick now for Enzo.
Mm-hmm.
Annoying. But he still has to come out with like clever lines, but they have to be annoying, clever lines.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like there's much of a direction for a heel turn, at least leading up to Mania,
No.
Seems like they'll probably stay together at least until Mania.
Bill Goldberg came out, and throughout the show, I mean, this crowd had been booing his name, and whenever there were shots of him. Mm-hmm. So he does his entrance from the back, and he comes out, he's got his Goldberg shirt on, and he's wearing this title. Mm-hmm. And I don't give this too much thought with various guys, but There are some people, when it comes to championships, that are waist guys, and there's some that are shoulder guys. Goldberg is a shoulder guy.
Why do you say that?
He looked very silly. It was like he was dressing up as a WWE wrestler. It just felt weird with this title around
Maybe
him.
it's the shirt.
Maybe the shirt threw it off. I mean, he was dressed like in normal attire here, a shirt and pants.
Yeah. Who's a waist guy, in your opinion?
A waist guy?
Yeah.
Bret Hart was a waist guy. Let's see. Like Reigns, definitely a shoulder guy. Cena's a weird one. Cena, like, screams shoulder, but he was more waist.
I think Cena's more of a dragging the belt along type of guy.
I think, though, the clothes definitely is affecting it.
Right.
Because you don't want to, like, picture anyone fully dressed with that thing around their waist. Like, outside of Savage.
Yeah, like
Who else?
Tim Sylvia.
Dude, Tim Sylvia was a 24/7 wear it kind of guy. Yeah. That guy went everywhere with that UFC heavyweight
and
title.
he looks silly. But yeah, you kind of have to like be shirtless to pull it off.
Let us know, guys. Tweet us. Shoulder or waist guy? Bill Goldberg.
Don't tweet us.
So he comes out. He did get some boos, but the crowd was really into his entrance. So the music ends, and he says that the title belongs to the fans as much as it does him. And it was a mixture here. I didn't think this was like overwhelmingly negative, but it was notable.
But there were some negatives.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, the most vocal the anti-Goldberg chants have been up until this point. So then the CM Punk chants start, and he acknowledges them, and then very smartly they had Paul Heyman interrupt, and that was the last of the Punk chants for this segment.
I wonder if he was cut off early.
Well, he said he was about to divulge personal information that he never thought he would, which we never got to because Heyman interrupted him.
So I'd assume they cut him off early because of all the Punk chants. And you could see like who's prepared for him. Stephanie seems to always be prepared for him, but I didn't think Goldberg really had much.
If there are people out there who are very adamantly anti-Stephanie, you are not going to want to listen to my rundown of that segment because that was a master in the ring. Heyman says he has not come alone. He introduces Brock, who is out. They have a face-off in the ring. Heyman says the only person happier than Goldberg is Lesnar, that Goldberg is now champion. Goldberg has proven to be every bit the beast and conqueror that Lesnar is, and says he is willing to shake Goldberg's hand. He said both men need to win at WrestleMania, but only one will be the winner because the other will be the loser. Heyman has a spoiler. There will be a new champion after WrestleMania, and Goldberg will be Lesnar's bitch. And then as Lesnar offers his hand, grabs Goldberg and hits him with an F5, which did get some cheers. And Goldberg was left in the ring here as Lesnar left with Heyman. Very simple. Very... This match, it's, hey, a winner and a loser for the title. And what's interesting, Way, is that, I mean, his dates, maybe they could change them. Goldberg is not advertised for another Raw until March 27th, the go-home show for WrestleMania.
Oh, wow.
So maybe this is it until that final Raw. Though Lesnar's on the next, all the Raws up until Mania, which there's only 3 more Raws. We're very quickly approaching WrestleMania. But you know what? If I don't see Goldberg again until that final Raw, I don't think you need more than this. With these two, less is more, as we learned over the last month with Lesnar and the greater quantity of dates for Lesnar, which were unnecessary dates.
Or Bill Goldberg in the ring. You know? Which, I mean, the total amount of ring time we've actually seen from Goldberg in this entire run, not including the Rumble, has probably been, what, less than 4 minutes?
Well, the Rumble was like 3. So, minute and a half at Survivor Series and then 20 seconds. Hey, it's...
I mean, that...
You could argue this guy is... On this show, he was the second most over guy on this show, I still feel.
For a mainstream audience, I feel like just having the name attached there is something that works. But for the hardcores, I definitely sense that most people are starting to see through the illusion. And they're realizing, well, they're not really putting this guy in the ring because we don't know how good he's going to be.
Was the title a step too far with this? For
a lot of hardcores, I really do think so. You look at the reaction online, especially taking it off of Kevin Owens. You're risking a lot of resentment. Thankfully, tonight it wasn't all that bad. And I think they can make it till Mania fine. But they are really definitely taking a risk, I feel.
They announced that John Cena is hosting the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards on Saturday. And then Enzo and Cass are out. And Cass says they're going to be leaving as champions, just like Jordan, as they listed off all the years he won NBA titles. There was a lot of them, with the break for baseball in there as well. And then Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows took on Cass and Enzo for the Raw tag titles. Anderson and Gallows went to the floor, and Enzo teased a dive, but they walked away. Cesaro and Sheamus come out, with Cesaro drinking his coffee. They got the advantage on Enzo, made the tag to Cass, who attacked Anderson with a pair of fallaway slams. Empire Elbow was hit, and then Gallows made the save. Enzo sent Gallows to the floor, hit a suicide dive where this guy's head crashed into the barricade. This guy will kill himself wrestling. He's just scary to watch.
Yeah. But
Holy
I mean,
Christ. This was almost a literal suicide dive. If you watch how he just drove his head into this barricade.
people get hurt doing less, though.
Well, Enzo is just a guy that he looks like
He's a ragdoll.
car with like wheels that are loose. That's just like it's like the car spinning out of control before it hits something. You don't know what to do.
Right.
It's out of control. So then he's celebrating hitting this dive, and maybe was experiencing a concussion as he knocked over Cesaro's coffee. And this leads to Cesaro and Sheamus running into the ring. They attack Anderson, and the match is called. The bell rings. All six are fighting, and Cass then sends Anderson off the apron with a boot. Enzo leaps onto the back of Cesaro, and then Sheamus knocked off Enzo from the back of Cesaro with a brogue kick. As we got this close-up of Enzo in another country.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine.
They aired the Hall of Fame video for Rick Rude going in with a bunch of clips from his WCW days, WWF days, and Ricky Steamboat will be the one inducting him at the ceremony on March 31st. Then backstage, Cass and Enzo are being separated from Cesaro and Sheamus with Mick Foley in the middle. And they set up a tag match for next week where the winners will face Anderson and Gallows at WrestleMania. And it looks like it's going to end up being a three-way with these three teams for WrestleMania. Stephanie walks in, telling Foley to follow her to her office as Foley is scolded. And then Akira Tozawa took on Arya Dvari. No Austin Aries on commentary here. Do you assume he is off of 205 Live as well now?
Corey called him my former broadcast partner on this show.
It.
So
maybe they'll put, maybe they'll get one of the other cruiserweights.
I don't think you need anybody.
Wow.
What's wrong with the two-man booth?
Yeah, that's what everyone's been saying. But WWE is very adverse to the two-man booth. Dvari hit his hammerlock short arm clothesline. Then Tozawa did his battle cry, hit a running penalty kick and a senton for a 2 count. Suicide dive was hit. And then he comes back into the ring, blocked the vertical suplex, ducked the clothesline, and the snap German for the win in 2:13. This wasn't much of a match, but on Sunday, I really enjoyed the team of Tozawa and Rich Swann. Those two were a really good team together. And Tozawa got on the microphone. He challenged Brian Kendrick, who came out, and he says he'll have an answer about fighting him on 205 Live tomorrow, and says that lesson number 5 is to be careful what you wish for, because like a dog finally biting its own tail, you have to be careful for what you wish for.
Okay.
I don't know if these lessons are taking off like the list did for Jericho.
I feel like they're kind of drawing this out, and it's not really all that hot to begin with. I think the crowd is liking Tozawa, but this Kendrick feud I don't think is doing all that much. I feel like it's just delaying the inevitable. We know this. We know you're probably going to put Tozawa over Kendrick. Let's move him on to something a bit more interesting.
Yeah, I think people want to see Tozawa spread out a bit more beyond this Kendrick feud at this point. But Tozawa, for his credit, I think people are getting into that little battle cry of his and his style.
He cut a promo tonight.
Yep. The New Day come out with their ice cream cart. This was a segment that really had little to do with WrestleMania, but I guess it did tie in. Woods. Poor Marty Scurll. First it was Jack Gallagher. Now it's Xavier Woods and New Day with an umbrella. Oh. So they're out here with their cart. The Shining Stars are just standing around in the ring. And they call their New Day pops a mouthful of magic.
Okay.
Which I don't know. As soon as they said that line, can you imagine in Orlando coming out with a giant ice cream cart and out comes the mouthful of magic, Shaquille O'Neal in Orlando.
Oh, wow. I thought you meant like Magic Johnson.
No, I was meaning the Orlando Magic.
Oh, okay.
But sure, bring Magic Johnson too.
Okay.
Then they could be a team maybe. Big E says that they will host their foot up the buns of the Shining Stars, as we then had a match with Kofi and Big E against the Shining Stars. You know, it is very unfortunate for Epico and Primo. These two are really good, but they will never be able to have anything.
I agree that they're pretty good, but
They've got the gimmick of death, and they're going nowhere.
But it's more than that. Like, you have to be exceptional these days. Everybody's really good on the roster.
Well,
and even in ring, I don't think these two are all that special compared to your average cruiserweight, for instance.
Well, I mean, they got a minute 18 here, where they're largely just cannon fodder here for the New Day. Epico hit this double underhook into these double knees onto Kofi, and then Primo did the. We need an official name for this chocolate slide. What's the official term? It's
Chocolate slide.
Is it a chocolate slide when Primo's hitting it?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Is it the Rings of Saturn when Neville does it?
Yeah, I guess they call it that, so why not? The chocolate slide, it lives on. Then Kofi came back with a Pescado. They hit the midnight hour, minute 18, as I said, and Big E and Kofi won.
Filler?
Yes, this was a segment that was just there for whatever, but it was short. We also have, for March, Women's History Month, where we are going to honor various women. And they had this screen of all these women that have had major contributions in the world. And like I saw Oprah on here. Ronda Rousey was on this. So our first one was a video on Trish Stratus and Lita.
Yeah.
Who, I guess in the world of WWE, these are world figures.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of weird, though, if we're going from Trish and Lita to next week, like what, say, Rosa Parks has done.
I would assume that they'll only focus on wrestlers.
They had they had on this screen. They had plenty of like regular like world leaders up there.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know.
They had this video on Trish and Lita.
I guess amongst wrestlers, who else would you even put in here? You know, one of the old school like Moolah, I guess. China maybe will do one.
Yeah.
Is she a woman leader?
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but whenever I see them like just talk about like the Trailblazers and specifically Lita,
yeah,
I can never forget that Survivor Series segment, her send off, and it was like just the most degrading segment one of the most degrading I've ever seen a woman have to deal with in the WWE.
What about Trish barking?
That was pretty bad too. Yeah, Yep. They've had their moments.
Yeah.
So anyway, this video aired, and then Mick Foley is in the ring. I thought just seeing Mick Foley in the ring, and after Stephanie took him to her office, I thought Mick was going to have to be the one to like strip Bayley of her title or something ridiculous, but none of that happened. In fact. We don't know what Stephanie told Mick in her office privately, though they did have this public confrontation. So Mick is in the ring. He brings out Bayley, and she's all down and upset and says she wishes she could call herself a champion today. She asked Charlotte to keep Dana Brooke in the locker room on Sunday, and we all saw what happened with Sasha, but says her focus is on WrestleMania and mentions how last year the new title was introduced and she watched Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky at WrestleMania and promised she would be there next year. It just doesn't feel right. And Foley just says, it doesn't matter how you get there. And just says, who will your opponent be? So I guess Bayley was being given the option here of just pick any of these women. But before she can answer, Sasha comes out and says that Dana may not have stayed in the locker room if she hadn't have come out. And she wants to talk about WrestleMania. They have always talked about having their match together at WrestleMania, and she wants to be Bayley's opponent. Then Charlotte comes out with Dana and says that Sasha didn't believe Bayley was good enough to beat her, and that's why Sasha came down to ringside at Fastlane, and she is using Bayley. And Charlotte says she is the victim of a conspiracy. She was robbed of her title and of her pay-per-view streak. I'll say.
Yeah.
And then Stephanie interrupts, and you just know, I can't say this factually, but the last time they were in Chicago, it was Christmas, And Stephanie had that great line about CM Punk losing in whatever the time was.
Yeah.
And just shut them down instantly. And it felt like this Chicago crowd, they all got on a Reddit private forum together and they all said, okay, she got the better of us in December.
Yeah.
So when they come back on March the 6th, we are going to drown her out. We will not let her cut her promo. And all these 12,000 people said, yes, we will get the better of her on this night. And they were so loud with these Punk chants. And Stephanie came out like a soldier going into battle with her shield up and a spear. And she came out and she just called these Chicago fans predictable. And you're all like CM Punk, losers who always cheer for the wrong person. Just like Sasha Banks with the finest pivot since Scottie Pippen in Chicago.
Perfect.
My God.
Yeah.
And she just stormed into her promo. Mm-hmm. She did not hesitate for a second. She was not caught off guard. The crowd stopped these chants, then tried to restart them. And still, Stephanie just metaphorically, fuck all of you. Each one of these fans. Stephanie was incredible here dealing with these Punk chants. It was a thing of beauty.
Oh, she did it all in 2 lines. 2 lines was all it took, and she did it with great confidence. And
like she cut like 2 paragraphs of dialogue here while these people are all trying to just get her off rhythm. Mm-hmm. She is a tremendous live performer, and I don't care what anybody says. She just went right through her promo here, transitioning to the women and stating that it's Charlotte that deserves the title match, and she oversteps Mick Foley's authority, making the match for WrestleMania. But Foley says that Sasha can't be left out in the cold and suggests that next week Charlotte take on Sasha and the winner could have the title match. Stephanie says that's not a bad idea, but instead she's going to make Bayley take on Sasha. The match is going to happen now, and Charlotte gets the match regardless. Sasha needs to beat Bayley to make it a triple threat. So pretty much everything on tonight's show was building to WrestleMania. It was all the plans we have seen. If there was one change, there was no mention of Nia at all. Do you think that this is going to end up a 4-way, or do you see them just stay? Well, we'll get into this match here. This will become a 3-way.
Yeah, I mean, after Nia losing last night,
which was surprising,
and there was there being no follow-up tonight, it does make you wonder if they're getting cold feet about her, throwing her into a position like that. I feel like in a 4-way, though, she will be protected, and she will probably be showcased relatively well, in fact. They have what, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks to go, so
they could always get her back in.
I think she will be in it.
They did this video feature on WrestleMania 1, and then we got our non-title match with Bayley and Sasha, with Charlotte on commentary, where she just argued with Byron Saxton, with Corey backing up Charlotte. Bayley landed a clothesline in the corner, tied up the arm. Charlotte says that 10 years ago, she watched her father retire in Orlando at WrestleMania, fully adopting that WWE math for a WrestleMania event that took place in 2008. They go to a break. Each are going for covers, back and forth, back and forth. Bayley blocked a backslide, went for the Bayley to belly, but Banks held on to the ropes. Charlotte and Dana came down to ringside, and Bayley got out of the way of the double knees off the corner, missed a high cross, and then Sasha went for the Banks statement, which is stopped. Bayley gets to the ropes, and then Sasha hits the backstabber, back to the Banks statement, and this time Dana gets onto the apron, distracting the referee, and Charlotte is there leaning in as Sasha kicks Charlotte away, rotates into the middle, and submits Bayley. And Sasha is overcome with emotion that she is now part of this triple threat at WrestleMania. And as of now, it's a 3-way for the women's title. I guess Nia Jax, it is to be determined.
To be determined, yeah. And the match itself, I felt like Sasha and Bayley were trying a lot of technical stuff. And it came across okay. You know, I felt like it was a little looser than maybe some of the greats, but, you know, give them credit for trying. And I also wasn't sure, though, how much the crowd was into it. So that by the end, the ending felt like
they were still furious over the Stephanie segment.
Or that they weren't really that into Sasha winning, or they didn't care all that much, or that they knew it was coming, perhaps.
Yes. So, I mean, with these three, it's essentially just parody, where All of them have beaten each other multiple times.
And at this point, I mean, I don't sense it being all that hot, to be honest, because I feel like I've seen the three of them together so much. There are only 4 girls on the roster, really. I mean, Dana's not around. Emma, nowhere to be found. So I feel like I've kind of seen everything, every combination of these 4.
It's like I'm sure these women are going to have a great match at WrestleMania.
But it hardly feels special.
It definitely does. If you had just altered some results and instead it was Bayley tonight getting that chance to get her WrestleMania match where she is going in as challenger and could win the title. And, I mean, she could have pinned Sasha at WrestleMania, gets the title, the big moment, but she didn't beat the champion. And then they go to San Jose in April, and that's when the streak is on the line.
You also don't have that either.
You threw so much away with that Fastlane finish and the title change a few weeks ago that just, well, now we're here for WrestleMania, and 2 huge moments you've given away. One of which was just mind-boggling at Fastlane for no gain for that streak ending. After the match, Charlotte attacks both Sasha and Bayley and leaves them laying with running boots. Roman Reigns is in the back, and Charlie says that Braun has claimed he's going to finish what he started tonight with Roman. And Roman tells her that Braun can find him in the middle of the ring later tonight. We got a recap of Seth and Hunter from last week, and then we go to Birmingham, Alabama with footage of Seth Rollins' rehab. Now, we did not get a U2 soundtrack, but we got Seth Rollins speaking like a normal individual, which I always am a fan of. He's doing 3 rehab sessions a day for a total of 7 hours and says he's given his entire life to the WWE, so he has nothing else to do other than rehab, which was both honorable and yet so sad.
Why?
I have nothing else going on in my life, so I have nothing to do but rehab. It's like, that's wonderful.
What else should he be doing?
I mean, geez, like,
he's a full-time.
Watch Riverdale. Have a book.
I have nothing else to do but
get
rehab
a dog
and watch Riverdale.
I just want to see some diversification here.
There are a lot of close-ups of him wincing in pain, so you know he's working hard.
How great was it with the Triple H poster?
That's always
on the wall.
It's always there.
Yeah, it's the Birmingham poster.
There's a great photo of him with Finn Balor resting up in some hospital chair, and
with
that poster in the background. Yeah.
And Rollins said he wants this more than anything. He just can't miss another WrestleMania. This was a very good video, I thought, and
it was all right.
Seth Rollins promo.
Yeah, it was good.
Then we heard from Triple H by satellite via backstage.
So the story was Stephanie couldn't make it to the arena in time because was that last night?
Fastlane. She couldn't make it.
She
was definitely here.
So where's Hunter?
Somewhere in the back, but joining us by satellite. He had better things to do than Raw this week.
I see.
So Hunter is interviewed by the announcers, and the first thing he does, he praises the world-class care that the WWE provides for their talent. They spare no expense, and he hopes that Rollins listens to the experts and calls it stupidity that he's ignoring doctors' advice and wants to be at WrestleMania. He says Seth is a liar by calling himself the man. He said, I never had to call myself my nicknames like The Game, King of Kings, and the Cerebral Assassin. Yes, because the term I am the game was certainly never uttered by this guy. He says that a nightmare is waiting for Seth if he shows up at WrestleMania, and it will be the last thing he ever does in a WWE ring if he shows up. Good smug Hunter promo here. And then, one of the highlights of the show. We now have Emma promos coming soon. As Corey said, oh, not this again, as we came back.
Right, so we're going from Emelina back to Emma.
Yes, it's the unmakeover.
Yeah, the same gimmick she had with the purple lipstick.
Yes, which they, I think, had one match of highlights that they showed. It was just from that WrestleMania tag last year that they showed shots of in this promo of the other Emma. So, very confusing. I mean, maybe she's going to be like schizophrenic or something when she comes back.
Maybe
she'll be on Raw and SmackDown as different characters.
Or maybe she could be a two-face type of character.
Oh, okay.
Only half her face is purple lipstick.
I like that.
The other half is just like, I don't know.
She'll be Emma and Lena.
Wow, I love it.
This is a great idea.
Yeah,
for
cool.
Emma. So she can start working on that character now. Samoa Joe and Chris Jericho. Non-title match. Why doesn't Jericho have to defend this title? Naomi got a week and they stripped it from her. How long's this guy gone without defending this title?
It's a very good question.
Has it been 30 days?
My only explanation is that they probably forgot that he had the title in the first place.
Fair enough. Definitely fair. I don't know if this guy's ever defended this title.
I don't even know how often he carries it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he always wears it, but I never think about it.
Yeah, doesn't need shoulder or waist. Cole says that Jericho will defend the U.S. title on, this is the new tagline for WrestleMania, the ultimate thrill ride.
Yeah.
We're going with a roller coaster motif.
Yeah, well, you saw the promo, right?
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster.
I thought that would be like the Impact Wrestling campaign. Roller coaster.
Oh, it is a roller coaster.
The ultimate thrill ride.
Okay. I guess, because why? Because they're in Orlando?
I guess.
They got theme parks in Orlando? Is that
just
it?
made me think of Roller Coaster Tycoon when I saw that ad.
Huh.
And how trippy it would be if you could watch that ad in 3D where you're going down and seeing all the faces.
Wow.
Yeah.
It would be that. It would be the future.
They should get on that. Owens and Zayn are banned from ringside, so we never saw them. Joe's attacking him with strikes. Enziguri hit a senton. Jericho got out of a Fujiwara armbar, and then the walls get blocked, and he hit a springboard drop kick, and then goes for a baseball slide, and Joe locks on the coquina clutch on the floor, and this is at like the count of 2, so this was a long wait. He finally released at like the count of 8, the old WCW NWO World Tour John Pollock route to victory. And just rolled into the ring and got a count-out win in 4 minutes. Then Joe came and threw him back into the ring, and Jericho pops up and hits the code breaker.
Okay, you've seen guys get choked out in the UFC. When they come to, it's definitely dizzying, but you can... I can believe the guy would have the instincts.
It was a flash submission. He was out cold and then came to immediately.
Once the blood comes back, you're up.
Okay.
You can't... I mean, you're probably still dizzy, but...
I feel this.
Buy it.
I don't know why this had to be on this week's show. This was clearly rushed. It was 4 minutes, and there was no Owens involvement. I don't know why this had to happen tonight.
Well, I thought they would do a tag match with the pairing of Zayn and Jericho against Owens and Joe. Why they did it? Because they need to fill TV time.
They didn't though. I mean, this was 4 minutes.
I mean, it further builds Joe, as a guy who is capable of defeating upper card guys like a Jericho. And maybe it's supposed to show that Joe is working with Owens now.
Yeah, I felt that was established in the one segment. And if anything, the way Zayn was laid out with that coquina clutch and nighty-night, and then Jericho was just instantly back from this hold. I don't know. I didn't understand this. It just felt very rushed. Like this was something that should have been a lot longer.
He wasn't just instantly back, though. The guy was out cold on the floor, but Joe grabbed him, basically, and brought him back into the ring.
And he put life into Jericho.
Yeah.
All right. Aries is going to have a message for Neville on 205 Live, and that is your hook for Tuesday night. I thought he delivered a message pretty clearly. I guess this will be the challenge.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes.
I wonder what he could say.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that wanted to deliver messages on this show, which was the whole setup for our main event segment. Braun Strowman came out for a proclamation. He says that Reigns got lucky at Fastlane, and he wants him to come out like a man and say, Chicago doesn't like you, and neither do I. And Roman's music goes to hit, but immediately gets cut off by the Undertaker's gong. And out comes The Undertaker as these people lost their minds in Chicago. They were so excited to see The Undertaker. He comes out. He has a face-off with Braun Strowman. The match that I said last year I would have preferred over Shane McMahon, and I caught so much crap for that. And now this year, I'm getting messages from people saying I'd rather see this than Roman.
Yeah.
I think people genuinely would.
Oh, he's had quite the year, and you could see from this reaction that I think the Chicago wanted to see it.
They did not want to see Braun just back off, though. He just stood to The Undertaker, and then he left, and the crowd booed this, and then Braun just left through the crowd. And Taker just stands there in the ring. The crowd's chanting for him, and then Roman's music hits. And he comes out, and he tells Undertaker that Braun wasn't calling you out. he was calling me, and then says, "This is my yard now." And that sends The Undertaker to veer upwards and take that look at the WrestleMania sign. Lasers came out of his eyes. A match was made. Time on the show on April 2nd was blocked out for The Undertaker and Roman Reigns. And just like that, we had our match. The crowd is chanting, "Roman sucks." And then Taker chokeslammed Roman. And Corey says that we will find out whose yard it is at WrestleMania. No
Yep.
GMs, no contracts. It's just, it was made. It was made by Corey Graves. A whose yard is it match.
It was made by the stare at the sign, really.
That was it.
Just registered.
Telepathy signed this contract. And we've got our match for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I think that the segment was fine.
It was all fine, yeah.
I feel that there's definitely a sentiment, though, amongst people, especially after last week's SmackDown, that really wants to see that Cena-Taker match.
Or Cena, Strowman.
Or Cena
tonight.
anyone, but
Or
Miz.
Taker Strowman, I mean. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have high
This
hopes
is their
for this
direction.
match? Do you think that they...
Not necessarily. I mean, it's not going to be one of Taker's best matches. I'm not anticipating a Shawn Michaels or even a Triple H or a CM Punk's quality match, but especially with Taker's age right now. But, you know, I think for that match, it might more be the post-match that'll make it interesting.
Do you see this at all being Taker's last WrestleMania?
I'm going to say no, because I feel like there are ways to do a Taker match without him doing all that much, you know? Like, look at what they've done with Goldberg. You know, the guy wrestled 4 minutes this whole time, and they made a ton of money off of him.
You could have Taker come out and kill somebody from now until WrestleMania 100.
As long as The Undertaker can walk slowly down a ramp, they'll probably figure out a way for him
Well,
to
he
use
doesn't have another speed at this point either. So
it. Yeah.
that was it. It was a very, very eventful Raw that, I mean, if you're looking at the card in terms of building towards that, I thought this was a pretty damn effective show. I mean, pretty much 90% of the show was dedicated to heating up the key matches for WrestleMania. On the Raw side, you pretty much know the directions for all the key people, maybe with the exception of Braun Strowman, who I think we all see a fate of the Battle Royal, unless there's some wild card.
Joe's a bit of a question right now.
You're
too.
right, Joe. There was no Balor tonight, even though he's doing the house shows this weekend. He'll be in Toronto on Saturday. Yeah, so I guess there's still some questions about a few people, but the majority is all kind of locked in with your WrestleMania program. So I really liked Raw for the most part. I thought it was a really fast-paced show. I didn't think, outside of maybe the New Day segment, which is super quick, I didn't think anything dragged on this show. It was very, very fast-paced.
Yeah. I thought it was all right. I feel like could have used maybe a couple more matches.
This could have used a home invasion maybe, or guys running into the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this could have used. Maybe someone getting handcuffed to the ropes.
Okay. Yeah.
What I'm saying is this was a lot better than the build to 2009's WrestleMania.
Oh, right.
Which we have reviewed. And this Friday, we are going to tackle the event itself. The 24th anniversary of WrestleMania, WrestleMania 25. Have you started it?
Nope.
Oh, you have lots to
I
watch
have
then.
a lot to catch up on.
Yep. WrestleMania 25 will be reviewed this Friday. Wai and I will also be back Wednesday for a review of SmackDown, and we will also review Austin Aries' message for Neville on 205 Live. So that's going to wrap up the show. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, answer the secret question. We're giving away a T-shirt on top of our wrestling activity book. Lots of free stuff on this show. So answer the secret question at Law Radio. The draw is every Thursday, and you could be the proud owner of a T-shirt from our friends at Pro Wrestling Tees. So go answer the secret question. Listen to us at liveaudiowrestling.com, iTunes, all that great stuff, and we'll chat with you on Wednesday. Each week, you have a chance to win a T-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees during Review-A-Raw. All you have to do is pay attention for the secret question and then submit your answer at Law Radio on Twitter, and you'll be entered into a draw to win your T-shirt, including our own brand of shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com/law.